All right, Moody. Man, this is cool. Obviously, lockdown is way different. Before we talk, basketball. I know you've been training with the boys a lot. How are you during lockdown?
Bored.
Do you guys go through everything? Like, have you started next season already? Like, how do you go over everything as a coaching panel?
I mean, our thoughts for next season have been brewing for a long time. We've
Yeah.
had a lot of downtime in the office, bouncing ideas off the wall, sharing concepts. And now, we're all confined to our own house. So it's basically
Right.
sending clips back and forth and marinating with your own thoughts. And that's kind of what it is.
That's the perfect example of where we are today, 2021. But we are talking about the future and the next season. You've obviously had a taste of, living in Australia and going through lockdown and a bit of I guess you call it the unknown.
Yeah.
So you guys will be more comfortable going forward with next year. But we've got a new squad and we've got a whole lot of new players coming through. Let's start with Jani because he had a great season last year. He looked amazing with the Phoenix. Huge pickup for the Breakers. You must be excited to have him.
We're very excited to have Jani on our squad.
Yeah.
We changed the structure of our team just to get him. So we basically, Dan has been preserving an import 5-man spot for basically all of his career. And the ability to get Jani made us shift away from that and give him that starting role. We believe in him very much.
Yep.
He has certain characteristics that fit our style of play perfectly. He's got the quickest feet in the business, which allows him to do...
That's a suicide, by the way.
Yeah, it allows him to do a lot of stuff. Yeah, he gets to screens so fast and he gets out of screens really quick. And has a skilled face-up game. And we kind of see him as an anchor for our switching defense. So Jani has a prominent role and we want to kind of maximize on his strengths and also, like we do with all our guys, help him improve in other areas and grow his game.
Well, he's going to be paired up with, a heck of a point guard who I know because I've been around basketball for years and years and years. I was a big fan when he was at Louisville. But tell us a little bit about Payton because that boy can hoop.
Yeah, Payton is a steal. Every now and then I kind of need to shake my head and I kind of disbelief that he's here and he's going to play for the Breakers. People who don't live college basketball or European basketball don't really know how good he is.
Yeah.
You see, players signing in the league out of the G League and getting hyped and stuff. I'm not disrespecting anybody. All the players in the NBL are good. But what Payton's done in the last 4 or 5 years in Europe is unparalleled. We're talking about a double-digit score in EuroLeague, over 4.5 assists a game. We got a real point guard in our hands, and we're very happy about it.
Like expectations will be high with him. That's part of the parcel, right? When you're a marquee player, you have these expectations. What's the cap with him? Like, where do we see him leading us?
He's a championship caliber player who should be in contention for the MVP of the league every season he's with us.
That's beautiful to hear. Now that backcourt that you have is something special now as well. You've obviously we've lost Corey. Corey's gone over to Egypt, but his brother's still here. And Ty, we saw how good he was last year. That backcourt, how do we feel about that backcourt right now?
So our feeling is that, Ty needed to carry so much of the load last year.
Yes.
He needed to run the team, score, create. Basically, at the end of the day, it was him and Finn carrying the bulk of our offensive load.
Yes.
Putting Ty next to Payton is kind of like unleashing the horses.
I like that.
Team and Ty can go be full-blown Ty and everything that Ty is and just go out there and play his game. You pair that with Will McDowell-White, which we're very big on, very, very big on. And I see him as a very big get for us in this offseason. Payton running the show and Ty being able to be free and be Ty and be aggressive and look to create for himself and for others and get into the paint and do all the Ty things that have made him a great player for so long. Combine that with Will, who we really believe in, his ability to make reads, to play in the open court, to play fast. I actually think he's one of the best local point guards in the NBL, and we're kind of lucky. Yeah, we feel empowered because it's not the easiest thing for the Breakers to get a young Australian talent. We weren't at least at the top of that kind of waiting list, and being able to get Will, although other teams really wanted him, is a big thing for us and a big sign of faith from him into the club and kind of Dan's system and what that does for him. So we're really excited and looking forward to that.
Well, we're just like kind of listing off, and this is kind of amazing, the roster that you guys have put together. But we haven't talked about arguably the most exciting or the most sought after when we talk about Ozman. And I think a lot of people don't know a lot about this young kid. He is potentially a lottery draft pick. Very similar to the way that RJ came over. There's a lot of hype around him, but different than RJ. Can you tell us? Because I like, even myself, I'm around ball all the time. I know hoops. I follow hoops. But I don't know much about him. Can you tell us a little bit? I'm excited about him, but I just don't know much about him. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, of course. So Ozman's a very special kind of kid. When we signed him a few months ago, he was 6'8" in change. Since then, he's grown to 6'10" and some change.
Wow.
So he's still kind of growing into his body and developing. We're talking about basically a wing, but a very versatile wing. Okay. So his natural position. So to talk about his natural position and all that would be a little bit premature because I have never seen him. I've seen him on film, I've seen him on tape, but he's been in 2 weeks quarantine, and since then he's been in lockdown. So I haven't put real eyes on him, and I haven't been able to see him on the court. But a few of his exciting strengths, obviously his size and physical characteristics are special and unique and can allow a lot of versatile things to happen within our offense and our defense. Obviously, it also puts him very high on the draft boards. But the things that I kind of find exciting about him, he has the special ability to play within the flow of the game, which is something that's very rare for 18-year-olds. Kind of has a knack of being in the right place, making the right pass, making the right read. Not shy offensively. He's not a distributor. He has the ability to put the ball in the hoop, whether penetrating or shooting. But all these things need to be translated into kind of an adult game, and there's going to be a transition phase. The flow part, the game kind of coming easy to him, is something I think we're going to see from the get-go, which will allow him to kind of help us and help himself even when he's trying to find his footing. A little bit like what we saw from Giddey. Obviously different role, but Giddey's ability to play within the flow and have like a veteran IQ to him helped him a lot during the season. I think we're going to see a lot of that from Ozman as well. He's also a really exciting open court player. He's one of those guys who can grab it off the glass on the defensive end and push in the open court, handle it like a guard, and get us a little bit of pace into our offense, which is something we're looking to add on.
Yeah, it's frightening because he's, like you said, 6'10" and he can hoop. Can he spread the floor as well? Obviously you haven't seen him on the court, but have you seen him shooting? The game's changed so much.
Yeah, he's definitely a perimeter-oriented guy. Okay. His 6'10" frame is an added bonus, but he's never been an interior presence. I don't think that's the trajectory from him going forward. Will he be able to post up smaller guards if he's matched up? Yeah, he should be. Absolutely. But that's not his go-to. He is definitely a face-up kind of player, very good shooter, capable passer, can put the ball on the floor. He's an 18-year-old French version of Tom Abercrombie.
Oh, shit, well, that's exciting, isn't it? How do we get him? I still understand that there's like processes with the NBL, but the fact that you can get a talent like this, obviously not in English-speaking country where he's from, probably can speak English as well, but how does that work? Is it just through agents? Is there something else? Like, this is a huge pickup for the Breakers.
The world is changing. The world of basketball is changing, and the NBL is a big part of it. It wasn't the case 3 or 4 years ago, but at the moment, if you go and ask any agent or manager or basketball player outside of the NBA, what's the best pathway to get into the NBA? The NBL is going to be up there, like in the answers. It's been an amazing platform. Obviously, it's not only the NBL. It also has a lot to do with the Breakers. It has a lot to do with the way Matt runs the place. It has a lot to do with what it means to have a home game at Spark. It has a lot to do with Dan's system and pedigree. But at the end of the day, the NBL has kind of steamrolled its way into being a pathway to the NBA. And this is influencing young guys like Ozman. But this is also influencing imports. Like, you can see imports coming into the end, like full-blown marquee player imports who are coming into the NBL because they think it's their best chance to get back into the NBA.
Right. Well, you speak of some of the names. RJ is obviously the bright one for us. LaMelo, now you've got Ozman, Josh Giddey's just gone. Like, it is definitely the pathway to, or one of the extreme pathways to the NBA. But at the same time, you've got to have some of those key role players. And last year we saw Finn, and I played with Finn back in Nelson. Like I knew Finn was special. I knew that he dedicated time. Like he lives in the gym, that boy. That's one thing that I can say. You would know better than myself. How's he looking at the moment?
At the moment, he's looking sad and alone.
He misses it.
Sitting in his apartment on the North Shore. But he is one of the best pros I've ever been around. His league last season was so exciting.
Can I jump on that? Why did he have such a big leap last year? Why was that the year?
So I'd want you to ask Finn that question because he can give you answers that probably I can't. But I can say a few things. One, he's very much matured as a basketball player. Now, you played with him in Nelson. He doesn't have the same resume as Tom or Rob Lowe or the Websters. He didn't grow up like on the pedestal of New Zealand basketball.
Not at all.
This is a kid that kind of grinded his way up, went to D2 in the States, came back, went to college, grinded it out in the NZBL. And for him to be in the system for a while, learn from the system, get acclimated, get his basketball IQ up, I think all those things helped him explode. We also had a very long offseason before last year, and we made the most out of it. We were in the gym every day, very long hours, 2-a-days, kind of hammering his craft away, maximizing his ability to be a threat from the three-point line, which was iffy and inconsistent when he was growing up and during his career. Kind of putting the finishing touches on his ability to finish with his left hand, driving into the paint. And on top of that, adding his post game, which was something he didn't have before. And kind of that and the circumstances of us needing another creator led to him being a real focal point for us in the post. And he was great. Like, to his credit, it's not easy to make a jump like that in the season. And he's just been delaying. He came to play every game and did his thing.
He really did. Now we've listed like a lot of players, and it's very exciting. Like, nonetheless, it is very exciting. And we haven't even touched on Tommy, who is when you think about the Breakers, you think about Tommy. This is a real tough question, and probably not the right person to ask. But Tommy has never ever looked younger. He always just stays the same. I don't know what, he never looks older. He never looks younger.
Yeah.
How much longer does this guy have to play?
I don't know. He's a vampire, man.
It's scary, right?
Yeah, he's gonna be around forever. Knock on wood. He just doesn't lose a beat. I don't know. Exceptional genes, really detailed preparation, and a guy who kind of knows his body and knows how to take care of himself and puts in the work. And he's 33 now, almost 34.
Something like that.
Out there, we're in lockdown, and he's out there running in the rugby field doing his laps, and you got to respect it and you got to love it. And I'm just grateful that he's on our side.
Man, well, he's one of and he's so unselfish. Like, I've known Tommy for years, and he's very unselfish. It's never about points. It's always
even to a detriment sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely, to a detriment. But at the moment, with like so many of these marquee players that we have talked about, at the moment, it's the Toms and the Robs that really glue a team like this together.
100%.
Now we're in lockdown. So time is obviously a factor on this one as well. And there's always the unknown, but how do we manage to get all of those players that we have just talked about on the same page?
It's going to be a great challenge. And you really hit it on the head saying that time is going to be a factor. It's really not the right thing to formulate a plan now because we don't know when the season is going to start. And we don't know when we're going to be able to start training. So once we know basically what our preseason is going to look like and how many practices we got, we can go and formulate a plan of how we get everybody on the same page. What I can say is that I am cautiously optimistic because Will, Finn, Ty, Rasmus, Tom, Rob, and Kyron Galloway already know what we're doing. They've been part of our process for 2 years now. They kind of know what's expected of them. They understand their roles. They understand the big picture of everything. We throw in Payton and Jani. They're going to have a learning curve, but these are established players. They should be able to pick this up fairly quick. And then we got our younger guys that we need to support and teach, and they'll need to get on the moving train quickly. Hopefully we get a good 7-8 week preseason and everybody's looking fresh and perfect. But we've already come to know that that's not necessarily the world we operate in now, and we're just going to need to do the best with what we got.
Well, you guys have adapted in terms of you went over last year and you kind of understand a little bit more. Well, like you said, the 7 or 8 guys that were over there, the coaching staff as well. If it is similar to that next year, how are you guys better prepared?
I don't know how much better prepared we can be, because when you say better prepared, we've definitely drew some conclusions from what happened last year. I think the biggest conclusion to draw is that if you're away from home for 6 months, it's going to be tough. Absolutely. Like, no matter what kind of preparation we put in place, there's still going to be this obstacle that we're going to need to get through, get around, get over, find a way to live with and win games. Hopefully, we're not staring at the same kind of season we were last year. Just reading the newspaper like the average Joe, I'm hoping we get a trans-Tasman bubble by the beginning of 2022, and that kind of allows us to conduct a pretty normal season. But if not, then we're going to really need to rely on our guys' character, the leadership we have within this group, the basketball acumen, and grind it out. Nothing we do before is going to make the 5th week in Port Adelaide.
Very true. Very true. All right, before we wrap it up, obviously it's exciting. Like, man, I'm so excited for this year. With, like, we've talked about Payton, Jani's coming. We've got Ozman from France with all this hype around them. We bring back the boys like Ty and Finn. What would you like to say to the Breakers fans who are like, man, I just miss these guys so much. All I want to see is them play. When they get out there, we know it's going to be exciting. But if you could say one thing to the fans right now, what would it be?
We miss you. That's probably it. We all miss having a full Spark Arena more than anything. We're really looking forward to seeing you guys soon. And if for some reason we can't see you soon, then we're looking forward to putting some smiles on your faces with some wins and excitement and good Kiwi basketball.
Very cool, man. It's always good to talk hoops, and man, I appreciate it more than you probably know. So that was awesome. Thank you, bro.
Pleasure.